We have a rock star here with us. We're in the presence of a rock star. So how long's it been in real estate?
Real estate, 4 years.
Four years. Okay, so 4 years, and what have you done in the 4 years?
We've done 6 BRRRRs, and we added 37 units, apartment buildings in the last 5 months. Bigger is easier. You don't think so. It's give you a little scary, but it's easier at the end of the day than it is the smaller ones. It's one step at a time. If you keep it simple, keep it one day at a time, one step at a time, it keeps it simple enough for you to keep moving forward. And that was my perspective. Every day was a new day. We're pushing forward today, and then whatever comes our way, we're going to resolve this. We're going to keep going. So there were 3 factors for me here to move into apartment buildings. First one being
to live. Okay, is this your first live?
I think so.
This is like it's right now. We are out and you're there. You know, like
it's amazing.
Live. What's going on, guys? Thank you for stopping by. I'm here with Adriana. Wow, real estate rock star. And I wanted to take this moment to not only congratulate you. How long's it been in real estate?
Real estate, 4 years.
4 years. Okay, so 4 years, and what have you done in the 4 years?
We've done 6 BRRRRs.
6 BRRRRs. We have a rock star here with us. We're in the presence of a rock star. So 6 BRRRRs.
And then we added 37 units, apartment buildings in the last 5 months.
So, and I want to go back to the beginning, but like, tell me how you went from the BRRRRs to now 37 units.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to scale, and also was looking to who had the lifestyle I wanted to live. I looked towards mentors and coaches, people like you. I came to you, and I had tons of questions. And apartment buildings make a lot of sense, and it's a way to scale but do less, if that makes any sense. That's what I'm looking for, and that's what we've been able to accomplish.
So let's say someone out there is just like thinking about getting into real estate. Would you recommend they go right to, because you went through the BRRRRs and you went through the it's a bit of a learning curve.
Yes.
Would you recommend to, personally, would you recommend someone to just go right to apartment buildings?
Absolutely. I think it's easier. And I tell people all the time, I'm like, bigger is easier. You don't think so. It's give you a little scary, but it's easier at the end of the day than it is the smaller ones.
Yeah, no, I love it. I mean, that's why I wanted to have this conversation with you, because I'm sure our viewers are going to get a lot out of the conversation. So let's go back to the beginning. How the hell did you end up in real estate? Or like, even having was your family in real estate? Did you ever think you'd be in real estate? Like, where did this idea, where was it born from?
Yeah, so no, don't come from a family of investors. I don't come from a family of financial, in any types of investments, really. I came about because we run an interior renovations company just outside of Toronto.
You guys have like a construction company?
Yes.
Like a renovation company?
Yes.
Nice. And so, okay, before we get to the real estate, how did that come about?
Yeah, so my husband's in the trades, and just outside of worked a few jobs after he finished college, and just wasn't happy with it. Decided to start his own business in the construction, tile installation, and then we grew from there to full interior renovations.
Cool. So you're already like kind of close to real estate in a way.
Yes.
Yeah. But you're doing it for other people. Did you work for anybody that was doing like flips or?
That was the first light bulb moment. We worked for a couple that were doing high-end flips outside of Toronto, and they were a similar age group. And that was my first initial, how can I just not do the work? Our company do the work, but actually own the property and make all that profits. I went home and I started searching for how do you do this, and I fell into some educational courses that were available at the time. And so
you're like, I'm in. I want to. You took all the education you could, and so what was that first deal essentially?
So it was, we started with our own home. So we duplexed our own home. That was our very first experience with
So like
conversion.
SDU,
Yes.
secondary dwelling
So we
unit,
did
yeah.
a whole full duplex conversion, city permits, all of it. That was our very first experience with any of that.
It was the home you were living in.
Yes.
So you're like, hey, let's just like,
Yeah.
okay.
We had nothing.
Did you think you could do that before? Did you have any idea that you could, like, because you were living in this home? Did you think, oh, maybe one day I could do this, or it was just like the idea was brought to you and like, oh, look, we have this like basement,
Let me backtrack for a second. Okay, when I researched how to do this, I found found out there was some education out there that I could take, and we joined a networking group that was doing education in real estate investing, and we cleared our bank accounts to join that. It was like, let's take some line of credit.
Yeah, so for people that are watching this, it was a program with coaching and whatnot that you had to invest, like it was like a significant investment.
Yeah.
And so that was a big hurdle for you.
It was so it wasn't a mental hurdle. It was a financial hurdle, because mentally I was in. I'm like, yes, this makes sense. I'm going to do this. But financially, I'm like, where do we get the money from? So we literally cleared from line of credits, credit cards, to some savings we had, and bought this program to start learning how to invest in real estate.
And then what happened?
And then we felt immediately stuck because we had no more money to invest with. And that's where, the opportunity was. I have a basement. I have an unfinished basement.
So had it ever occurred to you before?
No.
Never.
Not
Like you
once.
just like, the basement is where you put a bunch of junk.
Yes.
This is where you put all your junk.
Yes, that's right.
And so like now, like you're like, oh, that was your first move.
Yes.
And how scary was that from a scale of 1 to 10?
Scary, not much. A ton of work and knowledge.
So give me like some specifics on how long did it take, and what was involved from your side of things, and what were you doing at the time?
Yeah, so I was on mat leave with my son, and so
you have 2 kids.
I have 2 kids, yes. So this was my second. I was on mat leave with my second, so it's handling 2 little ones at home as well, which was insane.
Yeah, this is what I admire women so much, because they have that extra added pressure. Like you got to be mom and entrepreneur, or mompreneur, or whatever.
Yes, yes, exactly. Thank you. Crazy. So the challenge was, it was a townhouse, and I'm like, I'm gonna put a basement apartment here, and I must have gone to the city of Mississauga about 9 times, because every time I'd go in there, they would say, no, you can't do that. But why not?
Yeah,
it's like, because there's no separate entrance. Like, where are you gonna put an entrance? It's a townhouse. I had already checked the zoning, and it allowed me to do so. I'm like, okay, what if I separate the entrance over here? Okay, I guess you can do it that way, but you can't. But why not? Because there's no parking. Like, there's no additional parking for your tenant.
So you went to the city. First of all, you did the research.
Yes, I checked the zoning.
You went with that research to the city.
Yes.
And whoever you were talking to just didn't know or wasn't aware.
Or weren't very, like, I was there to solve a situation. They were there to say what you couldn't do.
Yeah.
So very different perspectives coming in. But I was determined, because that's how I function.
You have to, you know what? You have to be determined. I mean, it doesn't matter what you do. If you're not determined, any little obstacle is going to get in your way.
Right. I'm like, until I hear final no, and I really can't, then I'll find a different solution. But until then, I'm going to keep asking the questions and pushing through.
It's like Dumb and Dumber. you remember the movie Dumb and Dumber?
Yes.
Is like not in a million years. So you're saying there's a chance, right?
Exactly.
And that was you.
Yes.
That's cute.
So hired a designer, called a designer, hired somebody in, and his perspective was the same. Like, no, you can't. And I'm like, let's figure this out. Push through. We did it. We got the permits. We finished as a secondary unit, duplexed the house, got it tenanted, renovated the rest of the house, and then we sold it.
So what would have happened? And this is a really important, I think, subject in this conversation we're having. If you would have allowed for that first no to
Mhm.
be part of your life? If you were to went there and said, no, cannot be done, where would you be today?
Not here.
Yeah. Because then it's easy for someone to say, no, it's not allowed, or it's not possible, or they said no. Obviously followed your guidelines of, I mean, you can say, no, they said no, but I'm going to do it anyways. I mean, that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, you were determined enough to go back. And did you come back with different plans, or like, what was that thing that just say, okay, you can do this? Or
It was multiple, like, no, but what about this? Okay, sure, we can try that. And then it was something else that would be a no. Even the designer was like, from the layout of your basement, you don't have enough windows. It's a townhouse to like allocate for all the light that you need.
Mhm.
Okay, so what if we adjust the bathroom all the way here and the kitchen there and do it like this? Okay, maybe that works. And it was, the whole process was like that. And I've experienced that 100 times since then in different investments.
Wow, it's such a like a pivotal moment. You know what I mean? It's like they talk about, like, I'm a big fan of Back to the Future.
Yes.
And if you go back to the past and you alter something, it just changes the whole, like,
That's
you
right.
now skew the timeline. So if someone were to go back, and like, that's a pivotal moment. It's like, if you don't get that basement, you don't feel momentum, you don't have the belief, because a lot of it is in the belief that you can do this. And then now that you've accomplished this, then you can go to the next deal, the next deal, the next deal. So what was the second deal?
Second deal was crazy.
Mhm.
So we purchased a single family home that was completely run down, and converted into a legal fourplex.
Mhm. And so what made you do that? Because a lot of people would ask, like, like, you look at these some, like, only properties, wow, they need to do this now. But these are properties that people have overlooked because they look like,
Yes.
and so you went in and you're like, no, this is awesome.
I don't know if that's awesome was my reaction when I went into it, but so again, I started with the research, figure out that I could do there was a medium to high density zoning there, which I found an immense opportunity. The house was massive, but it was as terrible as any house you can possibly imagine, haunted house type of style. But I knew I could do something. I knew there was zoning there. There was a little bit of ignorance on my end of how much work was going to take, and that's that there's a little bit of that in the secret sauce. But I also knew that I had the backing and education and the network to pull me through, and it was amazing. We purchased it, and
so give me some numbers. So how much did you buy it for? How much were you into it for, and how much did you pull out of it?
Yeah, so we purchased it for $340, and then put in $250,000 carrying costs, city fees, like it's a legal fourplex, 4 hydrometers, the whole thing, and then refinanced for $700 8 months later.
So how much you pull? What was the net? What did you pull out in your hand?
Pulled out about 200.
200, and you own the property. No money in the deal.
So that's right. We got paid back, but right now it's worth 1.4. It's crazy.
How does that even feel? Like, sometimes, when as investors, it's like we almost take for granted, like, it's sometimes normal for us. Like, when you do this often enough, guys, you get anchored to these numbers. And it's only when you start talking to, like, regular people, like over the dinner table, like, we pulled out 300,000, 400,000, or it's worth one, we bought it for 400,000, is worth 1.4 now. And then to someone on the outside, it's just like, what?
Yes.
But for you, it's a Tuesday. So that's pretty, that's, I mean, now it is intensive, the work. So what goes into it?
Everything. So I was project managing it and dealing with some partners as well, but like raising the funds, financing, legals, the city permits, all of it, hiring, working with engineers and all the trades to get the job done. So it was intense. I had some nightmares, some nights where waking up and dreaming that the roof is falling in because the house was needed a lot of work, but also determined. And this is a really good insight. It's one step at a time. If you keep it simple, keep it one day at a time, one step at a time, it keeps it simple enough for you to keep moving forward. And that was my perspective. Every day was a new day. We're pushing forward today, and then whatever comes our way, we're going to resolve this. We're going to keep going.
I love that, because as long as you're moving forward,
Yes,
that's all that matters, right? Like, don't overwhelm yourself with, and a lot of people tend to overthink everything.
That's right.
And they want to make sure that the outcome is going to be absolutely perfect before they can do that. And you can't, I mean, especially you're managing people. It's like herding cats, you know, try to herd cats. You can't, you know what I mean? Like, this one's going that way, that one's going that way. Now, you did this 5 more times.
Yes.
And what, from that experience, because someone would say, why don't you just keep doing that, rinse and repeat? But you made a jump, like you leveled up into apartment buildings. And so what was the insight, like what was the one thing that got you attracted to apartment buildings in the first place? Because it seems like you have a formula. After you do it 6 times, it's like, okay, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat.
So there were 3 factors for me here to move into apartment buildings. First one being how intense the work was. Doing the renos and the BRRRRs is just very, very active, very intense. And the amount of units and the numbers don't make as much sense to be fully hiring people out, right? So I was still very involved with our construction company and everything. So I wanted to be able to step back from the like project management side of things. Second is the market got crazy as well in Ontario. So the numbers weren't making as much sense anymore.
Well, yeah, and not only that, you have the competition.
Yes.
Everybody, maybe it's because sometimes I feel that in my world is like this, but I feel like everybody and their grandmother wanted to be a real estate investor. You know what I mean? Like all of a sudden, people were out of a job or sitting at home and like, let's go on MLS and let's overpay for real estate, guys. Come on. And so you have a lot of people out there just being ridiculous with what they would buy a property for. So it's hard for a seller to even be patient enough to wait for someone that's going to come in and just, negotiate or whatnot. There is opportunity, of course, in any market. But for you, you just felt like it was just like a bit of a path of resistance.
Yes. I mean, I was just running numbers so much more often to find any kind of deals. We're purchasing the price of the property completely run down at the price of the finished product. And it just was a major shift as well. But thirdly, I took some time to gain some self-clarity here. What is it that I want out of real estate? What are my goals? What are my targets? What am I trying to accomplish here? Where do I want to be?
Where at what point did you say I have to do this, and how did you do it? And the reason I asked that is for someone that is watching this. I mean, you don't know where. This is live now, but you don't know where this video is going to land, and it could land into someone that is, maybe doing flips or someone that's wholesaling. What was that process like, where you just came to the realization that, oh, I have to level up here, or something's off, or, I'm not in alignment with something?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think after we've had, and honestly, these BRRRRs changed our lives. It just did. It changed our lives, our financial future, our legacy, our kids' future. It really changed our lives. And
it's easy to just say, you know what, we're good.
Exactly.
We're good. It's easy. The second you have some success, you are now in jeopardy of being just like everybody else now.
So, but what that allowed us to do is it gave me the option to step back and be like, okay, this is awesome. I can keep going. I had a formula. It was working amazing. So do we keep going? What else would I want to be doing? Or is there any parts of this that I don't quite enjoy? And being able to now choose, actually, I feel like I want to do business differently and I want to scale up. And again, my thought process was, who out there is very successful in real estate, has been doing for a long time, and what are they doing? That's what I want to know, right? Because then I can fast forward here instead of, spending whatever amount of years. I can just start jumping into that place. And that's when I reached out to a few people that I knew, and I reached out to you at the time, and that was the intention. I'm like, what do you like? I know that you're successful and you're doing this, so how can I do that?
I mean, I did the same thing back in my early 20s. So I transitioned from business, right? So I was a business owner, realized that I was very vulnerable because I was subject to the internet, competition, changing of the economy, and the ups and downs of the economy. And so then when I started reading, I realized that the wealthy people, not only do they have multiple streams of income, but that one stream is real estate, but it's never a triplex or a fourplex. The wealthiest people in the world, and anybody can, you read, go ahead, pick up any book. Nobody talks about the triplex or the duplex. The wealthiest people in the world hold their assets in commercial real estate, whether that be plazas, office buildings, or commercial residential. And that was the logic for me. Like, I'm like, okay, all these people that are actually doing this, they're actually doing it in a big level, and then why not do it the same way?
Perfect. That's exactly my thought process here.
And so now anybody can make that decision, but what was it like to actually go through your first apartment building, and from a scale of 1 to 10, how scared were you?
So scared, not much.
That's good. I mean, you don't have to be scared. I mean, if you believe in yourself. Some people are scared, but if you believe in yourself, you're like, okay, I know whatever, I got this.
I guess here's why. Over time, I've trained myself not to be scared of failure. So I would never promise that I'm going to be 100% successful in everything that I do, because I know I won't. But I'm also not scared to fail, because the faster I fail, the faster I start winning.
I love this, guys. The faster you fail, the faster you start winning. And so it's like I think it's like you're free. You have total freedom. You have total freedom when you have that mindset.
It's such a small shift in your mindset, but the moment you start viewing life this way, you take a lot of fear away, because you're like, well, if I crash and burn, that's okay.
Yeah.
That has to happen anyways.
This is the way I look at things. What is the worst case scenario?
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So the worst case scenario being like, I'm going to die. That is the absolute worst case scenario.
Yeah.
So how far am I from I'm going to die, and this whatever, I'm going to buy this 100-unit building. Buying this 100-unit building, I'm going to die. Then you can quickly come to the conclusion that it's not that bad. The worst case scenario is not that bad, And so I love that mindset from you. Like, that's really awesome. And I know this is why you're successful.
Yeah, it is a small shift in how you think about things. It's just the brain does a chemical reaction. When your thoughts start thinking of the worst case scenario, your body reacts to it as if it's happening.
Yeah.
And you start, you have all these reactions. You can't sleep. You're upset. You're anxious. You're nervous. You're freaking out, literally. And it's just all in your mind.
Yeah.
Because your mind can think either everything can happen wrong and you can dwell in that, or you can think everything is going to happen amazing.
Now here's a curveball. How about your husband?
Yes.
Are you guys in the same wavelength?
He's 100% supportive of everything, and I'm so blessed because he says, go do your thing, go buy the buildings, we'll celebrate.
Nice. So no, that's important, because sometimes you have like the there's like husband, wife, and then one is more I guess adventurous or more of a risk taker, and then someone more conservative.
But I take the perspective with my relationship, just like I take in real estate. There's always a solution. So if I
like that.
feel resistance at first, I'll keep working around it until
Come back
I
with a
find,
plan that works.
yes, I'll keep tweaking. What do we
You
have
know
to
what?
do here? Until I get my yes.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I love that. I really. I mean, it's also a big part of it being an investor. You know, you're in a family,
Mhm.
not just your husband and wife, but like the family. Is the family okay with you moving every year to flip a house? And you know,
Yes.
because I've been through that too. You know, like in my early 20s, like my kids getting comfortable in the house and like, okay, we just sold the house. You know, we just got here, but I'm like, no, there's another. You know, we made money, and you know, and so that's also like a bit of a challenge for a lot of entrepreneurs. So I love that you work things out that way. But let's go back to that 24 unit. So not scared, but what was the process like?
So the 24 unit was the second building. The first one was a 7, and
Yeah.
it was, you know, it
That was
just
the
went
little
really
son.
well.
That was the little son.
It went really well.
Mhm.
And then I thought, I would like what would I like? I would like anything. I want bigger. I want to go 20 plus, and
Go big or go home.
and my thought was, I just have to do it. If I want it, I just have to take action. I have to go put something in the contract, and then we'll work at it. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. And you know, you didn't know you didn't know how exactly it was going to come about, but you put it under contract, and then you manifested the money, and we'll talk. I want to talk about that as well. But and then here you are, you know. And so what's next?
Yeah, we're gonna keep going. We have some aggressive goals for the next 5 years, and we're gonna keep going. Keep acquiring.
Yeah. What kind? The same. What kind of properties?
Full all apartment buildings, but we're gonna keep going, pushing on the unit numbers and keep going higher. I've been looking at
Keep stretching
bigger,
yourself.
bigger, yeah.
Expanding your mind. So I want to get back before, you know, I like, obviously this is gonna live here, and you're free to share this video. People are gonna love this video. I'm sure. But I want to talk about manifesting before we wrap up here, because I think it's pretty interesting. And so and I manifest as well, right? I believe in it. I'm it's important to me. But what does it mean to you, manifestation, and what is your process?
Yeah, so it's coming to my life, and it's one of those things that's so pivotal to how I live my life now. And the reason is what I was just saying earlier. It's all in your mind. And for something to happen in reality, it needs to happen here first.
Yeah.
If I can see it, if I can smell it, if I can feel it,
if you can taste it,
all the emotions, everything that it's about something. It's so hard to explain, but it starts coming to you because now you're creating that reality. And I said, how can I? So clarity is number one. What is it that you want? Because I'm like, what do I want my life to look like? Now I'm gonna go and I'm gonna manifest.
Most people they walk, and I'm so surprised, because a lot of people, they just allow life to just happen.
That's right.
And it's like, and then when bad things happen, or something not favorable, or they're not in the right job or whatever career, then like my observation is that they tend to complain, where they just become a victim of life, right? Versus you making life happen. Like you are the creator of your life.
That's right.
And that's manifestation.
Exactly. Which is amazing. And being able to take 100% responsibility for your life. And it just happens even on a daily basis. I'll be going through something and I'm just not feeling quite right for whatever reason. I'm upset, I'm anxious, I don't know. Could be any number of things. I will stop and be like, what's going on? Why am I feeling this way? What's causing it? And it's all about me making a change to change that reality. It's not about the world happening to me.
Yeah.
Because your mind could go there. Oh, it's this, it's the kids, it's the job, it's that. It's like
the weather, COVID,
yes.
Abercrombie and Finch variant or whatever, you know?
Yes. You could go there, but I don't. And I'm like, let me find out what's happening right now and how can I change it and create a different reality. And it's incredible because then you look at your life and you're like, this is amazing. This is my life.
So there's lots of different types of interviews, right? So or podcasts and interviews where you prep your guest. Hey, what are the questions you want me to ask? I like it to be just like I like the conversation part of things. I think it's where you get the real, like, beautiful answers, And so the reason I say that is because this is I'm just gonna throw a curveball to give us tips. Okay, so I'm putting you on the spot.
Okay.
But I always want to know about what will come to quickly to mind, right? So this is not a setup. This is a true tip from
Fire away.
Yeah. So what's the tip? What can you offer someone that's just getting started in real estate or in business, really, from your perspective?
Yeah. Gain clarity. What do you want from your life? Because always start with the end goal in mind, and it can change. That's okay. It doesn't have to be permanent. But gain clarity. What would I want my life to look like if I had no obstacles right now? What would I want that to look like? Because that's going to help you decide, how many units you want or what kind of cash flow you're looking for and how to get started. Second, believe in yourself. Don't be scared to fail. You are going to fail. We all do. It's a part of life.
Expect it.
Yes, exactly. So tackle it, straight on and take a personality of a learner and somebody who's always growing. Because if you take that identity as opposed to I have to be right, it shifts your life. Because now you're like, that's okay. I got that wrong. That's fine. Now I learned the right way to go about it. And then dream big. Like there's no reason to dream small. Like life is yours for the taking. So think big, dream big. Go for it. It
doesn't cost you anything.
Absolutely not.
They haven't figured out how to tax dreams yet.
I hope they never do.
Wow. I told you guys, we have a rock star here, real estate rock star. Thank you for doing this. This is awesome. How can they find you, get a hold of you? And
yeah, pretty simple. Just my name, my IG, Adriana Ostapenko, and my Facebook as well, from Ace Properties. Reach out anytime.
Woo! Find her on Instagram. Follow her on YouTube. You got YouTube yet?
Not yet.
It's coming. Just pretend it. If you had a YouTube, what would the YouTube channel be?
Oh my God. That's very on the spot. No, I don't know.
I'm sure
help me with
I'm sure you're gonna be able to find her on YouTube, because I just hashtagged you. I created your hashtag. Okay. But you know what? Thank you for coming, and you're just an incredible person, strong, and a fighter and determined. My kind of person. Okay, so guys, if you're just watching this for the first time, make sure to subscribe, hit the bell to get notified, leave some comments below. You'll answer some of the questions.
Absolutely.
Okay, good. That's it, folks. Alfonso loves you, and we're gonna see you
on the at the top.
That's what we do when we go live. We'll see you at the top, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.